Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mark, back to talk about fantasy football again. So for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 14-team mock draft. The draft just started, and basically what I'm going to do is, it sounds like some of the people watching the show are in a 14-team PPR mock draft, so I'm going to be kind of simulating that and kind of show them kind of what I would do for that type of format. And then what I'm going to do is, so I got this is going to be my last mock, and then next week I'll do two drafts that I'll kind of follow throughout the season. I'll do a 14-team non-PPR standard league and then a 14-team PPR, so that way I kind of compare notes about like what I'm doing on both of them. And that'll basically, at that point there's only 1 week left till the season. So comment, let me know what you think, and so let's get started. So the first pick just went off the board. Somebody took Saquon Barkley. That's kind of what's expected, especially in a standard league. I am picking 11th, by the way. So I'm 11th out of 14. And, a lot of people panic when they get to the point where they're at the end of the draft. It's like, oh, I'm picking 11th. I'm not picking first or second or whatever. But actually, that's kind of beneficial sometimes to be at the back end of the draft. Because then you're basically, if you think about it, you're getting two potentially good players that could be that they're the guys potentially underrated. If you're picking let's say you're picking 11th like I am, I'm getting two top 20 players, and guys, and then a lot of people are reaching around for guys like David Johnson, for example. I've been talking about a lot, and just really not very good value. So I could potentially use this to my advantage. And this guy just auto-picked. I don't know why he signed up for a 14-team league if he's not even going to pick his player, but Christian McCaffrey went off the board. So, and then Alvin Kamara went off the board. So the one that they're telling me to take around 11 is Odell. That's the guy that's listed there. I don't really like that, to be honest. It's not bad, but it's also not really great either. The ones that I kind of like more that are around that range are Tyreek Hill, Juju Smith-Schuster. Those are some other ones that I like. They're kind of over there. They got James Conner. I might put a lot of emphasis on him because he's a running back. Nick Chubb, Kerryon Johnson potentially falling to me as well. And then Travis Kelce, which it'll be interesting to figure out what to do with him. So the fourth pick they took Zeke Elliott, and then the fifth pick they took David Johnson. So 5 running backs already off the board. I would have taken Devontae Adams or Hopkins in that situation like I talked about in the last video. So, but, you got to expect that people are going to be pulling the running backs out here. So I've got 5 picks left before me. So far, not really too much change in anything. But the key is that I've got to make sure that these picks count because the snake draft, I'm going to not go until the end anyway. I'm not going to go to the third round until pretty late. It'd probably be around trying to do the math in my head 39 or something. So that's a pretty big drop off. But anyway, so yeah, I got my notes in front of me. I'm doing that tiers thing like I talked about. If you didn't go watch that video, I would go ahead and do that because that kind of explains the strategy of how you're looking at it round by round. It's kind of a way to help you do your homework ahead of time. So, I would really like it if I had Hopkins, Julio Jones, Devontae Adams, something like that fall to me. But it's really probably not going to happen that way. I imagine the running backs would probably be gone. But I would consider, if Le'Veon Bell falls me at 11, I would consider that. Because I think that is more realistic to what Le'Veon Bell's value is. But he just went off the board, so that's not going to happen. So I'm probably going to be picking between these receivers or whether or not I want to reach for Todd Gurley or James Conner or something like that. So then Michael Thomas is gone now. There's 2 picks ahead of me, and it's going to be basically picking between some of these receivers. So I really like Juju Smith-Schuster. If for some reason that Devontae Adams goes around him and they leave him on the board, I would pick him. But, don't think that's going to happen. But I do like Juju, honestly, over Odell, Tyreek Hill, and maybe even Julio Jones, too. But that's a little questionable. But it's be close between those two. And then there's some other guys on there like Travis Kelce, Antonio Brown, who's miraculously still at 16. So, like, I don't know what you guys think of this, but I was thinking, like, I'm just going to start calling this guy Darth Helmet. Because, like, it's just being literally just as annoying as that character. Like, if you haven't watched Spaceballs, like, you need to, like, educate yourself. But, like, I'm just going to start referring to him as Darth Helmet. Because he's basically shown that he's just as immature. And, like, he'd be, like, caught in the back of the plane, like, and then John Gruden would be walking in on his room, and he's like, "No, I didn't see you playing with your dolls, AB," or something. Okay. That's supposed to be a joke. You guys aren't... It's a tough crowd, probably, but I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, so just avoid Antonio Brown. I'm not taking him unless he falls, like, really far. And then this guy just literally took the longest time ever on his draft pick, and then took Devontae Adams, which this guy was supposed to take anyway. And then Todd Gurley. So that's a interesting take at 11. So now I'm stuck. Do I draft Julio Jones or do I draft Juju Smith-Schuster? And that's a tough one. Or do I take James Conner because it's standard? I think James Conner, I think in the standard league priority, you have to consider him, but I mean, you're going to get a lot of production out of these guys like Julio Jones and Juju. So, if you remember, the Falcons are playing the NFC South. They're playing the AFC South. They're going up against the NFC South twice. They're playing Tampa Bay twice. They're going up against the Houston's pass defense. Some of those other pass defenses in the South might be done by that point. Whereas the Bengals division, on the other hand, are going up. The Steelers AFC North division is going up against tougher defenses like the Rams and the Seahawks. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Julio Jones here. And I generally like Juju over Julio Jones, but the fact that he's still here, I'm going to go ahead and take him. So Julio Jones, I'm going to take at receiver. And I'm going to be really hoping that I get one of these running backs like James Conner or Joe Mixon. Next guy took Odell. So I've got now 5 picks ahead of me. So I would have gone James Conner, but Julio Jones is just a pure number one in that system. It was really close between him and Juju Smith-Schuster, but, I'm going with the little more proven player at this point. But, I mean, there's times I go back and forth on that, too, even. But, I'm pretty high on Julio Jones since they're playing in that NFC South. And anyway, I feel like Juju Smith-Schuster is a guy that is going to get reached around, so there's a good potential I would land him at 18. So there's a lot of strategy involved in that. That's kind of going through my head, but that's kind of what I did there. The next guy up is Richard, who's using the clock. So the guys that are left on the board right now is Tyreek Hill, Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce, Darth Helmet, Joe Mixon, James Conner, Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, and Nick Chubb. So I am not taking Keenan Allen or Dalvin Cook. I would want somebody like Joe Mixon, James Conner, and Nick Chubb. So I'm hoping that one of those will be my target, unless for some reason that Juju falls to me. Maybe Travis Kelce too, but I mean, you're still taking a tight end this high is pretty you're sacrificing elite talent at positions that you need positions that you're filling 2 positions for. You're up 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, only 1 tight end. So Richard took Tyreek Hill, and then the next guy took Juju, and then James Conner, Travis Kelce, then Mike Evans. And then sure enough, ESPN is telling me to take Antonio Brown. Come on, man. Maybe they heard me talking about him or something, and they're trolling me. But anyway, so the guys that are on the board right now is I've got Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook, Keenan Allen, and Nick Chubb. And what do I want to do? So it's an interesting point of debate because Nick Chubb is he's got the better team. Joe Mixon is basically the only guy on his offense that's going to be doing anything. And then you also got Kerryon Johnson, who's in the fold as well. Maybe you could throw in Melvin Gordon but that's a risk. So the one that I'm going to take here at this pick is, considering this is a standard league, I think that touchdowns are going to be the focus, not necessarily the receptions. I'm going to go with the guy that I think is going to be more likely to get touchdowns, and that is going to be Nick Chubb. So I think he's more likely to get touchdowns than Joe Mixon is, because Joe Mixon is, Bengals look like an awful team. So I took Nick Chubb, and now I'm going to be sitting for a while. I got 20 picks ahead of me. So now let's play the game of figure out who's left. So I'm going to be going at about pick number 49. So now I'm going to what I'm going to do is start queuing the players, pay attention to that draft list here of who I want. So, and so I've got my notes, I do that, and then I also cue the players as appropriate to make sure that I'm good to go. So, yeah, right about where they're telling me to take pick number 49 is Mike Williams. And I don't really know about him being that high, and I think that's a bit of a risk. Some of the guys that they have around that range that I also don't like include Tyler Lockett and Alshon Jeffrey. Sorry. I talked about them in the last video. So the one that I want, if I get in that range, is Chris Godwin. I'm going to go ahead and highlight him as my queued player. DJ Moore, another one that I like around that range. Calvin Ridley, another one that I like around that range. I haven't talked about Josh Gordon yet. So Josh Gordon is coming in at 54, and a lot of people are putting him high now that he's back on the Patriots and they don't have other receivers. But if you look at Josh Gordon's numbers from last year when he was on the Patriots, he was not anything special. So, and I've talked about this with New England before. They like to move the ball around to different players. They're going to get different guys involved. So I just don't see Josh Gordon breaking out and becoming this excellent player that everybody's saying. There's just so much uncertainty there. But yeah, so I would avoid Josh Gordon personally because and then the other thing is he always gets suspended again. It's like the boy who cried wolf. Well, I don't know if that's the best example, but it's just that he's just gonna go into that same. I'm not trying to say anything bad against the guy. I really hope that he recovers from all that, but it's just for fantasy purposes. I feel like there's too much risk involved with all the personal stuff going on there to really invest in him as a player. So that's just my take. So after Nick Chubb, it was Antonio Brown, and then it was Dalvin Cook, Keenan Allen, Devonta Freeman. Interestingly, he went right before Joe Mixon. There's not a lot of drafts where I've seen that. And then T.Y. Hilton, and then Zach Ertz. So still a little ways until it gets to me. And basically where I'm going is where there's a lot of receivers. So the fact that I have Julio Jones, I would consider doing Matt Ryan for the stack, but I don't really like Matt Ryan for that purpose because he's not really a running quarterback, so I wouldn't try to stack him. But if I got Hopkins, for example, I would higher prioritize getting Deshaun Watson for the potential stack. I did that in a previous mock draft that I did on my own. But because you get so much value out of that, especially when you have a clear number one and a quarterback that also runs the ball. So that would be the only situation where I consider Aaron Rodgers is if you have Devontae Adams and maybe you can get that stack. But anyway, so some of the running backs that are around here that I'm interested in, David Montgomery. I think he's got opportunity in Chicago, especially standard. I think that you got O.J. Howard around here. I like him as a tight end. Darius Geis could have a lot of standard value, but I think 63 is still high for him, so I would rather prioritize a guy like Philip Lindsay instead. The picks keep coming. I'm hoping that I get... So, interestingly, I didn't expect him to be around here, but, you got guys like Aaron Jones that could be falling to me here. I would really want him if that's around. And then Patrick Mahomes is not being taken in this... not being taken yet. It's kind of... A lot of these people are actually smart and not reaching for him. But, so right now, I've got... So after it was... after they took... let's see where it was at. Zach Ertz. It was Amari Cooper, Julian Edelman. I don't know why you would take Julian Edelman that high. Over Kerryon Johnson, that makes absolutely no sense. Then you took Leonard Fournette. Melvin Gordon fell pretty hard. That's understandable. Derrick Henry. Don't take Derrick Henry. Josh Jacobs. That's an if question, but he's going to get his opportunity, but I'm just not sure about that line. Adam Thielen. George Kittle. So the 3 tight ends are all gone that are the elite tight ends, which is kind of expected. So somebody just took his time there, and he took Brandon Cooks over the running backs. Like, all right, well, that's... I don't really like Brandon Cooks either because he's not very consistent, and he's just... He's more of a standard guy, but just... Even when he's off, he's way off. It's just like, I would just avoid him. So it's basically like 3 picks ahead of me. The guys that are on the board around is Chris Carson, Marlon Mack, which both got taken actually, and then Aaron Jones. So I'm hoping this guy does not take Aaron Jones because I really want him at pick number 39. And then after that, there's a series of receivers. And he didn't take Aaron Jones. He took Stephon Diggs. Why would you do that? All right, but anyway, so I'm going to take Aaron Jones, and that's not really a question for me because the other guys around here, running back-wise, you got Damian Williams and Mark Ingram. I already talked about those potential problems. Receivers are guys that are interesting to me. You got Robert Woods, Kenny Golladay, Cooper Kupp. Those are all interesting guys, but I don't like them as much as Aaron Jones because it's a standard, and I think that Aaron Jones fell pretty hard. So I've got Aaron Jones on my team now. So I'm happy about this. I got Nick Chubb, I got Aaron Jones, and I got Julio Jones. So the Joneses are on my team. But that's a pretty good matchup. I like those 2 running backs that you get, especially in a 14-league standard. That's pretty good, and I still got Julio, which is a good receiver. So I've got a nice core to work with here. I think Aaron Jones is a sleeper that a lot of people aren't really queuing in on. Because people are focused on Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. So, I've got a couple picks before me. There's 2 guys auto-drafting, so that's probably going to take away Robert Woods and Kenny Golladay. So the guys left, Cooper Kupp, Patrick Mahomes, Damian Williams, Mark Ingram, Alshon Jeffrey, Chris Godwin, and then Tyler Lockett. So, Chris Godwin is interesting to me here. But if Patrick Mahomes falls, I think I would take him at 46 because that's about his value listed here is 43. So if he falls to me at 46, I would take him because I think 4th round is good value for him. You don't want to take him like 3rd round or 2nd round. I've even seen, which like that's a bit crazy. But I would consider him because especially in standard, like he's going to give you a lot of points because quarterbacks pretty much are rated the same in standard as they are in PPR. That kind of downgrades receivers a little bit. So anyway, but this guy just auto-drafted. I think he left. So after it was Aaron Jones, it was Robert Woods and then Kenny Golladay. So Shearman just picked Mark Ingram. I don't know what. That's not a good pick. And then you got 2 auto picks. He's got another one coming up. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably going to get taken. So it's going to leave me with the question of receivers or Damian Williams, which I'm not going to do that. So probably Chris Godwin is the guy I'm looking at, and I overall like that. Damian Williams went, Cooper Kupp went, and then Patrick Mahomes went one before me. I wanted him, but it's not going to happen. It's amazing that he fell that far. I didn't think that would happen. But anyway, so I'm on the clock. The receivers that are available are Alshon Jeffrey, that's a no. Chris Godwin, I like that. Tyler Lockett, no. Mike Williams, you got to prove me more than being rated as the 49th receiver. DJ Moore, I like that. Tyler Boyd, I think it's good value, but like Andy Dalton is playing like trash. Allen Robinson, no. Calvin Ridley, yeah, but I already have Julio, so that doesn't make sense. So the guy I like is Chris Godwin, and the Bucs are going to be down a lot. They're going to be throwing a lot to him. So I like that pick. I think that among these guys that are left on the board at this time, I would take him unless I scroll down real quick and see anybody that stands out, and not really. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Chris Godwin. What's this like? This thing's just lagging hardcore right now. Alright, so Chris Godwin is mine. Yes. Alright, so I got my team right now after 4 rounds. I've got Nick Chubb. I've got Aaron Jones. I got Julio Jones. I've got Chris Godwin. So, pretty good. I like that group. Pretty happy about that. And then now I can start filling in some more depth as the draft goes along. And I've got quite a while until I go. I'm not going until about like pick number 67 about. So let me take a look at that. But if you notice, like, this is not a bad position for being at 11. So like 11, I've gotten like 2 pretty good players that arguably top 15. Like you got Julio Jones, and Nick Chubb is another guy that could potentially be top 15 in standard. Could definitely be a top 5 running back potential. Well, that's a bit of a stretch, but he's top 10 potential. Aaron Jones is also breakout top 10 potential. I got him in the 3rd round. And then Chris Godwin is a guy that a lot of people, and I'm not super high on him, but I mean, compared to the other guys that were there, I think that could be like great value. I like him to be in the top 20, maybe even top 15 among receivers. So, pretty good. I'm pretty happy about all that, all things considered. Let's see what's happened since. Oh my, they took Deshaun Watson in the 4th round. That's pretty high. I wonder if that guy also had Hopkins. And then Alshon Jeffrey, Tyler Lockett, Sony Michel, Mike Williams. Sony Michel, just don't do that. DJ Moore. Why would you take Sony Michel over DJ Moore? That's just so dumb. Sammy Watkins, AJ Green, who's falling hard. Tyler Boyd, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley. Why would you take Allen Robinson over Calvin Ridley? That makes no sense. Josh Gordon and Evan Ingram. So the picks are still coming. At 67, they're telling me to take Hunter Henry, and that is a no. Then Jared Cook is also on the board. That's interesting. Matt Ryan, and then Aaron Rodgers with his stupid, like, Rodney Dangerfield mustache is the picture. It's just, that guy's just, he's just something else with his ego, man. Like, I kind of don't like Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you guys have realized that. Sterling Shepard is there. That's interesting. But I'm going to really be trying to look for some running backs here, to be honest. You know, but the ones that are, all the running backs that are left are pretty much all the guys that are, you know, have question marks, and that's why they've fallen. Like, they're either handcuffs right now, they're expected to potentially break on the scene, or they're just guys that shouldn't be that high anyway because of crowded backfields. Like Tevin Coleman, Miles Sanders, for example. Austin Eckler is interesting. Duke Johnson, that's a question mark. Is he going to take over that backfield? Royce Freeman, is it going to be his backfield eventually? Rashad Penny needs to jump Chris Carson, but I like him overall. But 67, you know, there's got to be some guys that you have to take. I think at that point you got to start filling in some receivers more than trying to reach for those question marks. And the ones that are left on the board: David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, Phillip Lindsay, Darius Geis, Lamar Miller. Those are ones that are kind of around the range we're going to be drafting in this 5th round. If I really wanted to, I could take Aaron Rodgers. I might consider Matt Ryan at 70, but I'm probably not going to do that because I think I'd rather have somebody like Lamar Jackson than Matt Ryan. All right, so the draft goes along, and just to let you know, like, this video might cut off because fortunately my phone doesn't have a ton of space. But the point is that I'm showing you some of the process of what to do in a 14-team league. Somebody took Cam Newton way too high after Evan Ingram, James White, Kenyon Drake, Lamar Miller, David Montgomery, Tariq Cohen. Man, if I get Phillip Lindsay here, that would be incredible value. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. This guy might take Aaron Rodgers here. He did take Phillip Lindsay. All right, so what do I do? This is some interesting question marks right here. So, I really like O.J. Howard. Darius Geis is also here. And then I could take Matt Ryan if I wanted. So I'm not going to take Matt Ryan here. I'm going to see if he falls me at 74. And I'm not going to take Aaron Rodgers. I'm amazed that Aaron Rodgers is gone after Cam Newton. That's actually like, I like Cam Newton more than Aaron Rodgers. People usually don't do that. So I'm going to take O.J. Howard. I was considering Darius Geis, but there's a lot of question marks there. He still hasn't really even played or practiced with them very much even. So I'm going to take O.J. Howard because I like that as potential value. But I also have Chris Godwin, so that's I don't know about that, man. Huh. Tough. I'm going to just do it anyway. I like O.J. Howard. I think Chris Godwin is also going to get some volume there because that team can't run the ball. So Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard are the two potential futures on the Bucs. And then it was Darius Geis and Matt Ryan went. So I've got a couple picks before me now, and who should I take here? So now we're getting into that question that Logan asked about which receiver do I take around this position. So you got Will Fuller here, you got Christian Kirk, you have Marvin Jones, who's kind of also considered that tier. I don't think he was on your question, though. And then some of the other guys you mentioned, I believe, I don't have it in front of me right away, but you have Courtland Sutton, I remember you mentioned him, and Dante Pettis. So I would probably want to take Will Fuller. I like that value there. Maybe I would consider Christian Kirk, but there's kind of some questions about that team and how they're going to do, so I wouldn't really take him preferably. So after that, there were a couple people that went after me, and then they took Darius Geis, Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, Robbie Anderson, Tevin Coleman. Okay, that is called reaching for running backs at a position where they should not be reached for, especially for a guy that has got a really bad running back backfield with all the touches he's competing with, and then Hunter Henry. So they're telling me to take Jared Cook, which I don't know why they're telling me to do that if I just took O.J. Howard. But, so going back to Logan's question, he was asking like which 6th-round receiver to take, and conveniently enough, it is the 6th round at this point. And the guys that are around here that are interesting to me right now are Will Fuller, D.D. Westbrook, Jarvis Landry, and then maybe Sterling Shepard. But I like Will Fuller because I think that is the best potential offense, and I think he has great rapport with Deshaun Watson. So I'm going to go ahead and take Will Fuller as that receiver. I would have considered Jarvis Landry, but I also have Nick Chubb for one, and then I also have 3 guys with a Week 7 bye, so that could potentially be problematic. So it really pay attention to those buys because that's going to be kind of, especially as you get towards the end of the draft, it's going to kind of determine how you fill the roster. So I'm at about like 28 minutes in this video. I might not get to the point where I get to the next round, but I'm going to try my best until this thing cuts itself off. So, but this is kind of the process of what you want to do. Just to rehash what I've done so far. The first round I took Julio Jones. I had the 11th pick, so I'm kind of at the end. But he fell to me, and I think that when guys like that fall that far, you got to take advantage of it. Then in the next round, I got Nick Chubb, who was a little lower than his range. He's kind of a guy flying under the radar, but I took advantage of him. It's close to him and Joe Mixon, but I took Nick Chubb. And then I took Aaron Jones, which that was really surprising me that he fell that far. But I got him, and I got like now 2 good running backs to build off of. The next round, I got Chris Godwin, who's a sleeper receiver, could be good value at Tampa Bay. Then on the 5th round, several picks later, I got O.J. Howard, good tight end flyer. So I'm betting pretty heavy on the Bucs. I might tilt towards that, maybe send off Chris Godwin later on or something. And then I got Will Fuller, who's a good potential flex player. So I'm going to be trying to build my running back with receivers and running backs. Try to get some of these quarterback and running back targets at the end, something along those. Try to get a good quarterback like towards the end of the draft because guys have been reached for already. So yeah, that's basically the idea. So I hope this video has been helpful, even if I might not get to finish it. I'll send you the results in the follow-up video to kind of let you know how things go, in case I don't get done. So Jarvis Landry went after me. It was Jared Cook, then D.D. Westbrook, then Sterling Shepard, Marvin Jones. Okay, and then Baker Mayfield went in the 6th round. See, exactly what I've been talking about. Like, do not jump up to get quarterbacks because somebody has been reaching up, because you could get guys at the end. Don't sacrifice those positions. And then Christian Kirk went, Andrew Luck. See, exactly what I've been talking about. Like, there's no reason to take Andrew Luck this high. He's not even playing yet. Like, what are you doing, man? And then Carson Wentz, Emmanuel Sanders, Miles Sanders. I'm kind of surprised he fell that far. A lot of people are high on him. Austin Eckler went. I would have considered him there. Fitz, dumb pick. Duke Johnson. I don't even know, man. Royce, Rashad Penny. So guys that are around my range that I'm going to be looking at. It's not great. It's Nyheim Hines, Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder, Curtis Samuel. I mean, these are guys that are like duds. So just not great value for me there. So I'm going to be looking around for some of these potential guys. Darrell Henderson is a potential guy. LaShawn McCoy, maybe a stopgap player I can consider. Geronimo Allison is also interesting, but I have Aaron Jones, so maybe not. Maybe Carlos Hyde, somebody I could consider around that range. Peyton Barber, no. I don't like that at all. I think I do like Kiki Kuti, but that's more of a PPR play than an actual like good receiver play. But I think if Dante Pettis falls, that's also not bad value either. So just some guys I'm considering. These are smart drafters for the most part with running backs, but these guys are like reaching for these quarterbacks like Carson Wentz in the 6th round. Like that is stupid. I don't know why you would do that. Okay. Team Tan is next. He's taking his time. He probably left the draft. He just waited till the end. He took Kiki Kuti, who I was interested in. So the guys that got picked. So I've got 3 picks in front of me. Lafreniere is the guy's name. The one that should fall to me if everything goes into place, where they take the 3 guys that they're told to take at the top, it should be Curtis Samuel, which I don't like that at all. I don't like Cortland Sutton at all. Michael Gallup, I don't really like that either. So I'm going to be looking to reach around here and probably try to take one of these running back sleepers like Darrell Henderson or something along those lines. Just to give you a heads up. So the next up is Nyheim Hines, Corey Davis. 1 pick ahead of me, and then it will be my turn. And I'm going to probably take Darrell Henderson. Took David Njoku. Yeah, that's a little high for me there. Alright, so I'm up next. It's telling me to take Jamison Crowder. I don't like that. That's not a good pick. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the guy that's got the potential who could, take over this backfield in Los Angeles if anything were to happen to Todd Gurley. And I'm going to get Darrell Henderson. That is a stash play.